More logo reviews today. My name is Andre Leroux. Let's get straight to the first one. First up is a lovely logo, Tea Farmer Girl. Excellent design work. I love everything about this logo, except I think you need to pay more attention to detail. Look at this. If we zoom in here, some of the details just are not very tidy. It's okay if you want a kind of a hand-drawn look to your logos, but I don't really get that from this logo. This doesn't give that hand-drawn feel. Either rough up the lines more or smooth them out. And tiny details like this add unnecessary clutter. Easy to remove that. Next up, letter KM or MK logo. Well, it's not bad. The alignment is weird. I don't think that works. But there is another bigger issue here. You know what it is, right? Yes, Comic Sans. Using Comic Sans is always a mistake. No exceptions. Your username indicates that you should not make that mistake. Professional designers never use Comic Sans for anything. It's not a bad typeface. The problem is that it is massively overused. Everyone and their uncle use Comic Sans. So, you are a professional designer. Get serious about your profession. You should have at least a few thousand typefaces on your computer. You don't have to have them all installed either. You only install the ones you use often, then use a program like Font Explorer to access the rest, as and when you need them. That's a cool solution because then those typefaces don't slow your computer down, but you can get to them when you want to. And if you want to use something like Comic Sans, there are excellent alternatives. Most of them very cheap and some are free. We also have to talk about your description. We decline logos with descriptions like this. The first problem is that you are simply listing words here, words that don't really apply to this logo. Sure, your logo can be used for real estate, but that's true for almost every logo on LogoGround. Certainly true for every monogram, so you don't include that in the description. And, well, looks nice is a big no. English is not my first language either, and it's a difficult, weird language, I know, but you have to do better than that. If your English is that bad, use Google Translate. Next logo, Crocodile with a zipper mouth. I love it. Nice croc, nice zipper, great idea. You just need more, you guessed it, attention to detail. Look at the spacing here. Very untidy, and some of the lines are not even straight. You need these rectangles all the same size, all equally spaced. Easy. Over here on the curve it is slightly more tricky. What I normally do when I want equal spacing on a curve is to build a circular pattern like that, and then you just delete the part you don't want. And this part here is a bit of a mess, to be honest. You don't want little pieces of objects lying around in your design. You need some housekeeping here. Next up, Jester Mascot logo. In this one, it is clear to me that you are talented. There are things like the composition and the distribution of shapes and colors that indicate that you are a very competent designer. The problem here is that the design is ambiguous. I don't know what I'm looking at. For example, what is this black thing? I assume it is meant to be a shadow, but it is too strong compared to the rest of the shading in the design, and it is too isolated, so it looks like a hole in the guy's face. The same with the eyes and the shape of the hat and these spear points sticking out of the hat. It's difficult to understand what we are looking at. Ambiguity is rarely a good thing in logo design. You need to simplify and clarify. Next logo, an RSR logo. There are several issues here. The composition is not very successful. It's an odd overall shape that you ended up with, and it feels somewhat off balance, like it's going to fall over this way. That's bad in logo design, especially if something has feet. then you want it to be able to stand. Maybe if we 3D print this logo, it will stand. Maybe it won't fall over, but it will be close. That lack of stability is what we don't want. It's a bad message to have in a logo. Companies want to appear stable. They don't want logos that look unstable. Some other details to take care of too, like this curve here isn't very smooth. I don't know why you have grey in here, and the shape of those grey bits don't properly match the bits of the letter R that they are replacing. And this kind of thing, that's just untidy. Take your time, make it perfect. Next logo, yes, that is tidy, well done. There is one small detail that you can improve. If we measure the thickness of this line and then compare it to the thickness halfway through the curve, you can see that they are not the same. The straight part of the line is thinner than the curved part. Not necessarily a mistake, but it reads as an imperfection in this design. I also think that this logo is possibly too generic. If we feed this to Yandex, it returns a bunch of logos similar to yours. Not one exactly like yours, not that I could find, but your design would disappear if we placed it among those designs. I think it needs to somehow stand out more. Next, a cat logo. Nice. It is very simplistic, but I think you are onto something. I'm not crazy about the head shape. It seems too wide and too clumsy. Compare it to the elegant simplicity of the nose and mouth. By comparison, the head shape feels heavy. I would simplify it. Also, the alignment here feels off. I think if you extend this line, it should go straight to that corner. So this anchor point should be about here, like that. Oh, and I almost forgot, your logo fails the horizontal flip test. If we flip this design horizontally, we have a dancing cat. That shows that the design is not symmetrical. Symmetry isn't a requirement, but in this design it looks like you aimed for symmetry and missed. Next, a graduation cap logo. The title says college and door logo, which is not great. Call it either a college logo or a graduation cap and door logo. That's more accurate. Two issues here. The first is perspective. You correctly have these lines converging, but then the part of the wall on this side of the door is smaller than the part of the wall on that side. Maybe you didn't want the door in the middle, but it looks like a mistake. If it is in the middle and in perspective, then this side, which is closer to us, will appear bigger than this side, which is further from us. The other issue is that you have the grey shading here and here, but not here. I don't see a reason for that. I noticed that you uploaded a second version of the logo and you definitely improved it. That's great, but I don't think it works. The door still isn't centered and you introduced new issues in this redesign. It might be best to abandon this idea. Even if you find solutions for the problems, you will have a fairly generic design. I think it's a better use of your time to move on to your next logo idea. Next, we have a letter X lion logo. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm a big fan of Mesoamerican art, and I think in this logo you have the same type of decorative geometric face. Excellent work. The only issue for me is this part. Everywhere else you have strong, bold shapes, and then here you have these thin areas that seem fragile by comparison, like the whole thing is carved out of stone and then these parts are cut from paper. The easy solution would be to simply remove them. That works. And the last logo for today, a dog and cat combination. Not bad at all. As with the first logo we looked at, I think you should make this either more hand-drawn or less. If we zoom in here, the ends of these lines are untidy, which is fine if the logo has a hand-drawn feel, but it doesn't. The eyes, by comparison, are fairly tidy, which tells me that the untidiness here is not intentional. So you want either more untidiness so that it looks intentional, or you want to tidy everything up. Either solution works. And these whiskers bug me. You made one and copy-pasted to make the rest, making each one smaller. But instead of them just becoming shorter, they also become thinner, which makes the copy-paste job too obvious. I would either just make all of them the same size, or if you want them to become shorter, then shorten them without making them thinner, like that. And that is it for today. More logo reviews next time. Many thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next time.